Hi, welcome to my channel. I am Sam Mala. In today's video, I'm going to help you to avoid an error that many people commit. We often hear people say, please, can you borrow me some money? Please borrow me some money. Okay, and we know that this is wrong. Although we also know that this is influenced by Pidgin English in countries like Cameroon, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and Liberia, where Pidgin English, or Ghana, where Pidgin English is spoken. So by the end of today's video, you will be able to know why it is wrong to say, please borrow me some money, and you will know the right thing to say. Plus a few other things that you're going to learn today, which some people actually confuse. So let's begin with the borrow. So we are trying to clarify borrow and lend so that you know why it's wrong to say, please borrow me some money. To borrow is a verb and it means to get or receive something from someone with the intention of giving it back after a period of time. So I had to borrow a pen from the invigilator to do the exam. I had to borrow a pen from the invigilator to do the exam. She used to borrow money and not bother to pay it back. He borrowed a novel from the library. He borrowed a novel from the library. Since many friends who borrow often don't pay back, they should go to the banks. Since many friends who borrow often don't pay back, they should go to the banks. And this is actually a very bad attitude, that when friends come around, they will cry and beg and always beg very sweet promises of when exactly they're going to pay money or something else which they're borrowing. And once they borrow, they will never want to pay. But if they go to the banks and the credit unions and other financial institutions, there are strict rules and parameters put in place to be able to retrieve what they have borrowed if they refuse to pay it back. So in connection with the last example that I gave about borrowing from the bank, if you want to borrow from friends and not pay back, the verb to borrow actually means to take money from a bank or other forms of financial organizations and pay it back after a period of time. Some examples, like so many companies at that time, we had to borrow heavily to survive. Like so many companies at that time, we had to borrow heavily to survive. Number two, we could always borrow some money from the bank. Number two, we could always borrow some money from the bank. Number three, instead of borrowing from friends and not paying back, borrow from a credit union, borrow from a bank. Instead of borrowing from friends and not paying back, borrow from a credit union, borrow from a bank. So many companies will need to borrow money in order to survive the post-COVID-19 period. Many companies will have to borrow money in order to survive the post-COVID-19 period. So what do you note here? You note here that we use borrow from the perspective of the taker, the receiver, okay? Now let's go to lend. To lend is a verb and it means to give something to someone for a short period of time, expecting it to be given back. To give something to someone for a short period of time, expecting it to be given back. Some examples. She doesn't like lending her books. She doesn't like lending her books. If you need a coat, I can lend you one. If you need a coat, I can lend you one. Gono has promised to lend me plantain suckers during the planting season. Gono has promised to lend me plantain suckers during the planting season. Another meaning of to lend, strictly in the financial sector, is if a bank or other organization lends money, it gives money to someone who agrees that they will pay the money back in the future, usually with extra money added to the original amount, and this is called interest. So the bank refuses to lend to students because there are high risks that they might not pay back. The bank refuses to lend to students. The bank agreed to lend him $5,000. The bank agreed to lend him $5,000. The credit union lent her 2 million francs CFA to start her business. The credit union lent her 2 million francs CFA to start her business. So note that we use lend from the perspective of the creditor or the giver, from the perspective of the creditor or the giver. So instead of saying, borrow me some money, please, you would rather say, lend me some money, or could you lend me some money, please? Please lend me your book, okay? Would you mind lending me your book? Please lend me some money. I will pay back unfailingly tomorrow. But unfortunately, many people come with these kind of promises and never fulfill them. And we understand why some countries like the Western world prefer not to borrow money between individuals. You go to the bank. Okay, that being said, now another pair of words that people often confuse is sell versus sale. Sell as S-A-L-E versus sell, S-E-L-L. Sale actually is a noun, and it is an act of exchanging something for money. So it is the noun form from to sell, okay? It is the noun form from to sell. Some examples: the sale of cigarettes or the sale of alcohol is forbidden. The sale of cigarettes or the sale of alcohol is forbidden. 2, the building company gets commission on each house sale. The building company gets commission on each house sale. Okay, so here you're using sell as a noun, but if you like, you could still replace this sell here with the verb to sell and you say on each house sold. Okay, and this in this case you will use on each house sold. Okay, but if you want to use a noun, this is the noun here, S-A-L-E. I haven't made a sale all morning. I haven't made a sale all morning. They will drop the price rather than lose the sale. They will drop the price rather than lose the sale. So they want at all costs to sell, to sell, to sell. They want at all costs to sell, to make a sale, okay? The embassy is organizing auction sales in Yaoundé next month. The embassy is organizing auction sales in Yaoundé next month. And then now we have the verb to sell, okay? To sell, to give something to someone else in return for money. To give something to someone else in return for money. I sold him my car for $600, or I sold my car to him for $600. I sold him my car for $600, or I sold my car to him for $600. All of these are correct. Or we will be selling the tickets at 1,000 Naira each, or we will be selling the tickets for 1,000 Naira each. Any of this is correct. The stall sells drinks and snacks. The stall sells drinks and snacks. A Jumba in Carré Yaoundé sells beer. A Jumba in Carré Yaoundé sells beer. Note, do not sell your birthright is wrong. When you say do not sell your birthright and the sell is S-A-L-E and your birthright is spelled this way, oh my God, no, this is wrong. Look at the correction. Instead, you say do not sell your birthright. Sell, the verb, not the noun, okay? And remember that the correct spelling of birthright is as one word. Birthright is spelled as one word. And of course, there are other meanings or uses of the verb to sell, which might not be very commercial or financial. But for example, we might say, okay, please, you have to sell your culture to the world. And by selling here, we will mean promote. You have to promote your culture. Here, I'm talking about sell as S-E-L-L. Okay, we can also say she sold her idea to potential investors, which means that she persuaded potential investors to invest in her idea. So I hope that as we have come to the end of this video, you've now learned that it is wrong to say, please borrow me some money. That instead, you must always say, please lend me some money, okay? And now you know the difference between borrowing, which is taking to pay back, and lending, which is giving, expecting to get back, okay? Yeah, and now you also know the difference between to sell as a verb, S-E-L-L, or the noun form, which is S-A-L-E. So thank you for watching to this level. Please, if you're watching for the first time, if you're new to this channel, subscribe and talk about this channel to your friends who need to improve their English language. And many other things that I share here, like my lectures, my university lectures, my invited lectures, things about culture, especially the Mesa culture and other cultures from Cameroon and Africa, business ideas and business opportunities, scholarship and studying abroad, a positive image to the African continent, and much, much more. So thank you and see you again next time.